Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave. Looking at this. See this? Camillus. Yep, Camillus. TL-29. And we all know that's an electrician's knife. Unfortunately, it needs some love. Here's what I'm thinking of doing. Let's check it out. So here's the knife here, and it's a Camillus TL-29 electrician's knife. We all know that name, the TL-29, I believe was the military ID for an electrician's knife. Now you can see here, there's not much left of this guy. They even, this was so bad they sharpened the tool. Yeah, it's a disaster. But it's a really, really cool handle. Has the bail, it has the TL-29 badge on it, really good condition. I really want to replace these. So I went through my bag of bones, came up with basically two options. The worst thing about this whole idea is this knife. I'll try and show you the tang stamp. It's really, really hard to see. Okay, dates back to the 30s to 40s, 1930 to 1940. Wow. I don't have a replacement blade for it. And it's going to be hard to find one. So what I do have, I have two options, these two. This is a TL-29, an electrician's knife. But this guy, if you look at the tang stamp, is probably one of the later ones. This one is an 80s to 2007 electrician, which is, that's quite a difference in age. I do have this blade, and you can see the tang stamp, okay, which, there you go, which is a little better. It's a 70s to 80s blade, and I think I want to use this blade. And I want to take the tool and the blade off of this guy, the really old one, and put a new blade on. And I'm going to replace the tool as well. I think I'm going to take the tool from this guy. The good news is, this is a duplicate. So I don't feel too bad about it. I would just basically like to take this handle and put it on these knife, tool, etc. Why? It's a really cool handle. This is that plastic, I'm not sure material, it's that black material. This is wood. It's totally wood. It's a beautiful handle, and I would like to keep it. I want to put this onto this. So that's the plan. Now, I know for some of you that's blasphemy. I can tell you that I awed and ummed on this for quite a while. I even went online, which I never do, and looked to see if I could find one with a blade for this. Nothing. It's an old guy. That's the problem. So I decided, you know what, I want to do that. And the thing that makes me nervous is it has the bail on. And on this one, if you look, the bail goes right through. Can you see the pin there? But it's also pinned at the back. The pin at the back holds the springs in. So what I'm thinking of doing is cutting this pin and that pin, and so that I can get these out. Doing the same on this guy. Actually, it doesn't really matter. This one's a little different. This is the big thing about the old versus the new. Look at the position of the bail. This one, the bail is actually on the pin that holds the whole knife together. The bail is on its own on this one. Pretty cool. They are different bails. One's longer than the other, obviously. So I'm going to take this guy up. Actually, to get the tools off this, I just need to cut this pin, and we'll be able to get them off. And then I'm going to put them on here, clean the whole thing up, make it look pretty, and hopefully it'll work and I won't mess anything up. And then when we're done, I'll show you the end result, and I'll show you some of my other ones, because yep, I do have another TL-29 on that it was actually marked on the handle. This is a pretty cool one. It's in really good condition. And I have a couple of other electricians that I want to show you. They're all Camillus. So, very exciting. You know how I feel about them. I prefer to collect them. I really like their knives. So, let's not go any further. Let's get this apart. Let's get these blades and tool off and put them on here, clean him up, and make him all look sharp and shiny. Let's do that now. Okay, so here we have them here, and you can see this guy. Beautiful handle. Love this handle. The whole reason I'm doing this. It's really old style. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have the blade. So what we need to do is get these two tools out. You can see how bad this is. It's been sharpened. They even made a point on it. It doesn't even look like the electrician's tool anymore. And of course, there's nothing left of this. They cut it down so far that they made their own nail nicks. So what I'm going to do is I need to cut this pin here and that pin there, which will allow me to move this apart, pull the tools out, and then basically do the same thing here, except this one, I don't need to cut that. I can just cut this pin and we can get both tools out. And then I need to decide which blade I want to use. Although this is the one I really want to, because it's the older blade. And it's in pretty good condition. It's just not going to clean up, I don't think, as well as this one will. But I'm going with that one because I'm old, it's old, and we're all old school knives. So let's cut that and that using this blade. We got to get it in there, tap it through. Now the horror, everybody says I shouldn't be hitting on the knife, I should be hitting on the blade. I have stared at that and tried to figure out how you can put this in there and only hit the blade and not on the knife to push it through. I can't think of a way. I know a way, but I don't have the stuff to do it. If I could get a tube that fits over here, I could hold the knife and bang on the tube, which would push the blade through. I just don't have a tube. But maybe I'll look into that. In the meantime, I got to hit it here. And the way I tend to save things is put a piece of wood there so you don't dent or damage the bolsters. So let's do that. So you can see I got the blade in here. And the way you do that, you have to look very carefully along the springs and the liners to find a slight gap to get it in. Now, I would like to have started here, but the gap was too tight. The only gap was here, so I had to get it in there. And between the pin for the bail and the spring pin. And what I'm going to do is put it in here, sitting like that, and then tap on the top here to cut through the pin. So I'm going to do that now. Remember, safety. We're dealing with really a sharp blade, etc. Things might break, so make sure you have safety glasses as well. Here you can see I'm actually having the shoulders of the blade that I'm using sit on the vise so that when I knock down, it'll push down into that pin. I'm using a soft blow hammer because I really do not want to damage anything here. And I'm going to put a piece of wood on top here to lessen the damage. The wood is softer than the steel, so hopefully. And now I'm just going to tap down, and I'm not on the shoulder here. Let's get it on the shoulder just like that. And try that. And here you can see we've cut through that pin. So now we've got to go up to the next pin, which is the bolster pin. I'm cutting between the liner and the spring. That was the only place I could get it in, so there's that. So now I've got to get these lined up so it doesn't hit that blade. And there we go, right through. And there we go there. I think we're going to have to cut it again. Finally, I got all the pins out, the 2 pins. So let's see if we can put it all back together again. So I got the tool off this one. I'm just going to leave it all together there. I don't want to take it apart unless I really have to. And keep it together so I don't lose it. It's all Camillus stuff. And maybe I'll find a nice tool that we can put back on later on. Got to put this on here. It's like that. So when I have these little steel panel nails, they're just the right size to help line everything up, allegedly. So if we do this, it allows you to put them all in without having to worry about getting a pin and everything lined up. It gives you enough room so we can look at what we got going on here. So there we are there. And of course, now they're floppy because obviously the pins are of no use to man or beast because they're too thin. And I've got pinning material to replace them with. This allows you to test it, and they're just little thin tiny panel pins, handy to have, and you can see how you're doing. Now we have the tool here
We have the nail neck underneath that cutout, so we're all good there. So now we can pin it together. But I want to clean the blades and the tool first. So I'm going to take this out, pull these out. Much easier to clean off the knife. So let's do that. So I've got some 2000 grit, 800, 2000 and 5 to 600. And this is that foam backed. You can get it on Amazon. You can just simply search foam backed sandpaper. They come in packs, fairly inexpensive. They do come in a pack like this, and all I do is I just cut them up, because when you use a big piece like this you tend to waste. So I'm going to start off with the 5 to 600. Here you can see the blade. It's not too bad. Don't want to press hard. I like to clean up the tang just to get the rough stuff off. Quick rub. And of course you can get in everywhere. You don't miss anything, because you can't reach it when it's on the knife. And don't forget those little hidden spots, like the back. Be careful when you're working with the blade. This is not very sharp at all, so there's that. So let's start cleaning up the blade. And then the spine. And the front here, if you just put the tip in, you won't catch it. The 5 to 600 is to get rid of the heavy stuff, so you're not going to spend a lot of time with it. You're just cleaning up. A lot of buildup gets in the nail neck. And here you are here. See, it doesn't take much. That's the 5 to 600. Let's do this guy, and then we'll go 800 to 2000. Let's start again. And there's 600 on the tool. I'll do the 800, show you the result, then 2000, and then we'll put it back together. And here we are with 800 to 1000. You can starting to get a nice clean shine out of them. Now I'll go to 2000, then we'll put it together. And we'll finish everything up with mothers, because we still got to clean the knife. And here's the blade at 2000. Cleaning up nicely. You can see the tang stamp. Nice and shiny. Always a good thing. This is pretty badly scratched up, but when you clean them up like this, it doesn't look as bad. So, going to give this a quick brush, and then we'll, just to get the rough stuff off, then we'll put the blades on and clean the whole knife up. Okay, we got them pinned, but there's a couple of things. The wood here has broken away, so that pin sticks up. The other problem is here. We've got a bit of a gap here, and the gap is because the wood is broken. See that? I think what I want to do is I'm going to sandpaper some of this wood and get some wood dust and make some magic dust. And then we'll mix it with some Elmer's glue and fill in all these, let it dry, and sand it down to fit. Hopefully that'll clean it up. So I think that's what I want to do. We'll let that dry while I eat my lunch. I had my lunch, I'm full. And you can see I just filled it in. Now we got to clean it up, and then we'll clean up the rest of the knife. So let's start by cleaning the handles here. Just some sandpaper. I've got some 180 to start. And then we'll go to about 600-800 just to finish, smooth it off. So when I do the whole handle, so everything has that same look to it. Got to get rid of all the excess. That looks a little cleaner. That one's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. Let's do the other side now. There we are now. It's not perfect, but it looks a lot cleaner. This I might have to fill again later. The glue shrunk. I forgot about that. It's happened before. But it looks a lot better. So let's clean up the rest of the knife. All this stuff, the weld, brass, get everything shiny. So for this I'm going to start with 800 to 1000 and start cleaning up all the metal, the brass. Just going over it lightly. And then of course clean the well and the spine of the springs and these bolsters. And of course the bail. So I have some wet dry 600, that's what I use, 400 to 600 on getting inside the wells. The foam backed won't double up in here, so I just do that and then go into the wells. Always remember, tape up your blades, you're going to be going like this, it'll sting. So let's get these wells done. And you want to get into all those little areas. And of course on the bottom as well. And the So you can see that edge there looks a lot cleaner than the other one. Let's get that one done. There we are, 2000, and the bail, bolsters. So I'm going to take everything off here and go over it with mothers. And there you are. And you can see mothers will smooth out the shine. Don't have so many hot spots. Cleans up very nice. Whoop. This has a half stop, by the way. So even though it does have a lock, still have a half stop. Need to oil it, and then I'm going to sharpen it, and then I've got to put some oil on the wood just to preserve it, stop it from drying out too much because it'll crack. So I'm just going to use some mineral oil here. Just put it over here, a little bit there and there, and then we got to work it. Put some on the actual blade, around here. All that sanding and polishing has left a residue or bits of sanding inside the bolster, so the oil actually goes in, creeps in, and pulls it out, and I'll show you what I mean. Looks nice and clean now. I'm going to work the blade back and forth a bit. And you can see the oil is starting to come out of the top, and it'll pull anything with it, any build-up with it. So good thing. Snap is back there. We've got to get the snap back on this tool though. It's rubbing against the liner here. You can see it snaps back there, but when we go down here it's rubbing on that liner. So we'll let that soak. We'll sharpen the blade, and I'm going to get some vegetable oil for this. Here you can see the oil building up over here. It's starting to pull all the grit out. So if we work it, hopefully, I don't think we're going to get the snap back going into the well, but there's snap here. Actually, it's rubbing on the lock, and I don't want to adjust the lock because then it won't work. What do you do? Okay, I've got some mineral oil here. Well, not, this is vegetable, sorry, that's mineral. And I'm going to put it onto the wood handle. It's actually olive oil. I'm just going to put a little bit on there and rub it in. And you can see it's already soaked in. Just keep adding until it stops soaking in. It's really good for stopping your wood from drying out and cracking. And interesting, this side here is lighter than that side. It's a good idea to do that at least once a year. Just top it up. If you have wood handled, things like that, it's a really good way to stop it from cracking when it gets really dry. Especially here in Minnesota, it gets very dry during winter, very dry indeed, so you want to make sure. So this is about as dull as you can get. So let's sharpen that. I'm just going to use my workshop bench top. Lazy today. It has the rocking feature, which it follows the shape of the blade. It's almost the same as like sweeping, but it follows it. I'm going to start off with coarse at 20. I don't really need to rock it because this blade is reasonably flat. But I'm going to leave it to rock and you'll watch it tilt with it. Pretty cool. Works pretty well. And I'm going to use mineral oil. It's always a good idea to clean it off after you're done because it builds up in there. You see that? And you don't have to move or anything. You can just pull the knife across like that and it'll follow the blade. See that? And the same thing the other way. Okay, I'm going to change to a finer grit. It's just a magnet. I believe this is 1000. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Got this a while ago. It's been a workhorse for me, that's for sure. But then I got the other one and I really like the way that I get a really good result with the Zarlik. I am not as good doing it by hand like this. I struggle. I find I can't be consistent. Now, I'm going to strop it, but if you don't have a strop, these ceramic rods actually work pretty well just to clean off that edge. You're just going to sweep it down like that, very lightly, and come back on it. Watch when you come back. You're coming towards yourself. Let's see if that works, otherwise I'm getting my strop. So, here goes nothing. It's a little rough, but it'll work. Certainly cut anything I need.
So here we are. Our cleaned up, restored, and replaced. TL-29. Very cool. I really like this knife. Been looking for them. Unfortunately, the ones you find, certainly the ones that say TL-29 on them, well used. You saw what that other blade looked like, but this will work. It's not officially true because the handle doesn't match the blade, because of the tank stamp. And you can see it there. The tools, well, they're all the same. But this cleaned up nice. I really like this handle. And like I said, I got a couple of them. I have another one here, this one, which isn't the wood handle. This is that plastic, I forget what they call it, material, which means it is not as old as this original handle, because they only went to this, I believe, after Vietnam, believe it or not. But it does say TL-29. Typically, if it says on it TL-29, it was designed for the military. It was a contract and built to their spec, and they called it the TL-29. Just looking up some of the history on these things, originally, while I'm talking, I'm just going to show you some other ones I have. Originally, it was made in the military during World War One, and I believe it didn't have a tool. It just had the blade, and these guys, you know, the guys in the signal corps carried them for the telephone lines that ran through the trenches and everything. They'd run around and have to fix them. Obviously, they'd get broken, blown up, shot, stood on, beaten up. They were running around, rejoining them. World War II, I believe they added the tool. And that's when the TL-29 came out with that spec. And of course, they added the tool. So the guys used to carry this. There's actually was a kit that this came in. I believe it was called the TL-33. And it was a kit. They issued that. And that was for all the signal guys, the radio operators, the electrical guy, you know, that sort of thing. So this one has that unusual color handle. Very cool. Camillus again. They're all Camillus. Here's another one, right? Exactly the same. The difference is this one has a different tank stamp on it, but it has that same Delrin, I think is what it was called. It was a plastic or whatever. But you can see great knives. Here's just a plain black one. Same thing again, Camillus. Pretty good condition. But very cool knives. I will say this. They really make a great work EDC because it's easy to carry in your pocket. You got a good blade on it. You've got the tool. You know, even if you're not an electrician, you've got a screwdriver right there, and you can use this for different things. I've seen guys, they use them as pry bar. You know, I don't do that, but you shouldn't do that, but that's what they do, carry it in their pockets, and it makes a great EDC. When you do this by hand, the biggest problem you get is the cleanup here. Because if you have a wheel, a grinding wheel, you can have some really fine wheel on there, and you can clean this down so that it's smooth right against the bolster, the way it looked originally. So that's how you get this look. You can't even see the pin. But when you're doing it by hand, what do you do? I've been thinking about that. I probably have to cut Mary's meals down and put some money away. Thinking about putting a bench outside. Obviously, I can't use a grinding wheel in the man cave. So much dust and stuff, and this metal is very suspect. Most people don't have a workshop. So I'm hoping this helps him. If they watch me do it by hand, anybody can do it, right? If I can, you can. You know, obviously here, I have my Dremel stuff, which runs on a battery. It's really convenient. They actually have a workbench type saw thing that I'm looking at. As soon as I win the lottery, I'll get that. I want to get a wheel with a belt on it and a sanding wheel. Maybe that'll improve my final look. But I like doing things by hand. And I show it because I want to know other people you can do it. It's not perfect. Maybe this year sometime when I win the lottery, I'll get some stuff and I'll set that bench up outside. So here's hoping. Anywho, there you go. TL-29. Replace the blades and the tool. Put it on an old handle. Very cool. Good addition to my Camillus Electrician's knives. And one of my favorite style of knife. Simply because, I'm blue collar. I'm a working guy. Well, used to be. Now I just do it part-time. You will be safe when you're doing it, though. You got blades everywhere. This guy, cutting through the pins. Wear safety glasses, wear gloves, because when you cut through, sometimes the knife drops out, that blade shoots up in the air. Just be careful. Be aware of what you're doing. Just saying. Thanks for and don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. I have a question for you. Hopefully you guys are still watching. If you watch the gun show that I went to with Keith, I got this guy. See that? It's an Ulster 114. Now, I looked it up. Here we go. That rabbit hole. Ulster lists this in their catalogue as the 114 General Utility Knife. Here you go. You got a spear point, can opener, awl, bottle opener, screwdriver. But they call it a general utility, which is basically what a camp knife is. It's a very cool knife. Now, the question I have, this is carbon steel. Look how it's patinaed. You can see how this thing patinaed. It's really cool looking. Now, when you buy these things new, well, when you did, by the way, when these came out, the catalog I looked at was 1961. They came out and they were polished and everything was very cool. They hadn't patinaed yet. Do I leave this or do I clean it up? So, in the comments below, tell me what you think. Obviously, when you clean up a knife like I do, and it's carbon, over time it's going to patina again. So, it's not a big deal. What do you think? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Always, always appreciate it. And we'll see you again soon.